Ugo di Gela Tesla Squamish, low collection. Gela Tesla Musquid, low collection. We la Megans, none will call a lach Guchtamas. My name is Bob Chamberlin. I'm the chief of the Kwik-Wasutun of First Nation, chair of the Musqueam Tribal Council. I have welcomed you all. I'm glad to see that you're all here. I've acknowledged and thanked the Squamish First Nation and the Musqueam First Nation whose territory I understand that we are conducting this important business in. I have with me today a number of our hereditary chiefs, as well as Regional Chief Sean Atleo and Grand Chief Stuart Phillip, Charles Smith, Chief of our family in the Kwik-Wasutun of Kwik-Wasutun, Eric Joseph representing the Tawadino, and Bill Kramer representing the Nungi's First Nation, as well as some of our council members, Sandy Johnson and Bob Chamberlin. Now, I'm really grateful to see so many of you here and showing a high level of interest in what it is that we've done today in terms of filing this important class action lawsuit. Now, we have been very active in pursuing remedies for our concerns within the existing consultation structure of the provincial government. And I cannot report to you today that we've been successful. I cannot report to you that the needs of the salmon in our territory of the Broughton Archipelago are being addressed by the actions of the provincial government. What I can tell you is that we're having dialogue and science and discussion and everything except action. And what the salmon need for our territories is action. The fish cannot understand dialogue, but they can certainly understand it when a sea lice attaches themselves to the outward migrating smolts and dies. I think that we've had enough science. I think there's conclusive evidence, both within the province of BC but around the globe as well. I think that the time for dialogue is exhausted. We will continue to be available for that dialogue, but we think that this route of what we've chosen here today is going to be a way to facilitate meaningful action from the provincial government. We've watched the provincial government invest considerable funds in investigating this issue. What I'm talking about is the Special Legislative Committee on Sustainable Aquaculture, broad-based consultation with British Columbians, environmental groups, First Nations, industry, to produce a very expensive document that is sitting on a shelf somewhere and is not being actioned. And seeing that type of a response from the provincial government and knowing that the Pacific Salmon Forum is on the verge of doing their final report, it is really hard to be optimistic that the government is going to be doing something meaningful in response to this report. The dialogue that we're hearing from the provincial government leading up to the Pacific Salmon Forum is identical to the dialogue that we heard leading up to the Special Legislative Committee's report. The tabling of a report is one thing, action by the provincial government is an entirely different notion. And I have not seen actions or words or commitments that give me confidence that the provincial government is going to be doing what is proper and what is right in relationship to the wild salmon of the Broughton Archipelago. When we talk of the salmon in the traditional territories of the Musqueam people and the Kwik-Wasutun-speaking people in general, we're talking about a foundational component of who we are. This food source is so primary to our existence. It is why our tribes have reserves and village sites in proximity of these rivers. And when we mark special occasions, whether it's the passing of a loved one, a coming of age ceremony for a daughter or marriage, we gather our people together and feast. And in those feasts, we eat all the resources that are found in our territory. And this is who we are as people. And so when the provincial government continues to reissue licenses and allowing this industry to continue its activities, knowing full well that there are known impacts by the fish farms on wild salmon, to me that's reckless. And I think that it's time that we start to move in a meaningful way in altering how this industry operates, with the primary focus being the protection of wild salmon. It is paramount, it is time, and it's a necessary movement today so we can safeguard those for our future generations that will come to rely upon the resources found within our traditional territories. I would like to see the provincial government make meaningful steps in developing close containment. And this is a way that perhaps the industry can continue to provide jobs for the region, continue to provide opportunity for the companies, but in a way safeguarding our salmon. And if we could move towards a close containment system, what we would do is then create a real opportunity for this industry to finally become 100% responsible for all aspects of their operations. Enough offloading the negative aspects onto the environment, and so our people can bear that cost. Now, I have with me today our First Nations legal counsel, Krista Robertson from Woodward and Company, and to my left I have JJ Kemp. And I'll now turn the mic to JJ so he can explain the intricacies of a class action lawsuit and why we've chosen this as a preferred route.